It was something I was scared of, just like seeing what would emotionally happen.
CM Punk, like me, for a while, was represented by CAA. He has a previously existing relationship with Nick Khan. And so that's a massive bridge that was already in place in order to make this happen.
There was a couple of conversations that happened between Punk and Nick Khan.
It's a company being run by Nick Khan, who, as I always talk about, my former agent. And so I know him a little bit. And what you have to remember is that he is coming into this with fresh eyes. He is not coming in with a grudge.
You know, my concern would just be, what's the fit?
Everybody made it a big deal. Triple H was mad at them. And so then we stopped being friends.
Did you feel like that conversation had to happen for this to proceed and be successful? Like you couldn't just show up on Saturday?
I think there's a world where it very much didn't have to happen.
He is not coming in with that baggage. He is not coming in with any animosity towards anyone.
Vince is not the problem, guys. I love Vince. Just trust me on that. He's not the problem.
He is coming in with one objective and one objective only, is to win. Let's be honest. They're, in a battle with AEW.
With WWE's president, Nick Khan. Well, Nick, I have to say, if you've been talking to New Japan Pro Wrestling for 2 months, you've gotten a lot done. In fact, I think there's only room for one Khan in the wrestling business, Nick. And it's me, it's Tony Khan. It's not some con man from Connecticut.
And his objective is to win there.
I thought you're not on Twitter. I thought you're not on Twitter.
Listen, no one wants to hear my opinions
What's the
on
account
anything.
name?
That is my news feed. So I'm on it constantly, trying to see what's going on and keep up with what's going on in the world and in our world.
Have a fun show tonight, Nick. See you on Dynamite.
And you took Cody Rhodes from them. How did you like that one?
And so they'll get Cody Rhodes and they'll get Jade Cargill and they'll get CM Punk because ultimately that's a win over AEW. And there's been a lot of wins. I am fascinated to see where this goes. And on a night where Randy Orton returns, on a night where Stephanie McMahon is sitting in the front row, all of that just gets forgotten about because the best in the world came back. There's a lot of baggage there with Roman Reigns.
I don't like the guy. I don't know many people that do.
There's a lot of baggage there with Seth Rollins.
It's like, oh no, dude, did he say that? Yeah, no, he's a jerk. Come on, we figured it out over there.
Yeah, I was scared as hell.
We knew it over here. I don't want him back. Go do something else. Bye-bye.
And many others.
He did kind of make us look like kind of dumbasses, saying we sent him a text offer.
No, I haven't. So is Punk going to AEW or staying with UFC or neither? Well, according to AEW Executive Vice President Cody Rhodes, there might be a fourth option.
Well, you must have had conversations before signing to AEW. You must have kind of had conversations on both sides of the coin, right? So, that being said...
Before going to AEW in 2020, were there ever any talks? I know you were on Backstage, that show.
Yeah.
Did it ever get close?
Yeah.
It did?
Yeah.
How close? Pretty darn close?
Rhodes responded to a fan on Twitter who was asking more about the claim that Punk made about receiving contract offers through text. Cody responded with, I think he was misquoted. I know one of us had met with him in person, and yes, I texted him plenty when we couldn't connect on the actual phone, but not a contracted offer. I wouldn't be surprised if he went back to WWE.
I think famously everybody thinks they know the story of Tony having a third party reach out to me and be here, and I was just the timing's not right, and guys, I need stuff done a certain way.
Okay, this is done. I mean, even before Backstage.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, see, I thought Backstage was going to be like a backdoor way to get me in.
But the Fox thing was too good to be true. I was very adamant of, guys, I don't want anything to do with them. I don't want to work for them. So I don't know if this is a Trojan horse.
And I told everybody from Fox, I was just look, I want to work for you guys. This sounds like fun. But if it's any way tied to trying to get me back, we're not going to have the greatest, business relationship. Because at that time, I had a handshake thing and things were in place.
Okay, we'll get him to come do this, and then that's the gateway to actually getting you back to signing with him.
But I didn't want that. And I want transparency and honesty.
This is before the pandemic, right? Who was leading the charge?
It was Nick Khan. I think Nick's...
He wasn't even there yet.
I think, but I'm with CAA. So I think since the day I stepped out, I think Nick has been trying to talk me to come back in.
I keep getting blasted with on Twitter. People are like, you brought CM Punk back to wrestling. I don't mind
Then
it.
I have a scapegoat. I can blame you when it blows up and goes wrong. I can just
And then my
Yes.
Yeah.
So you were with CA. He joins in August of 2020, but obviously it's in his best interest. And the story is that he helped sell those rights to Fox, right?
Yeah.
The SmackDown rights. So he's obviously very involved. He meets Triple H, he meets Vince, he meets Stephanie, etc. So even dating back then.
Look, if I came back to pro wrestling, there's people who are expecting that 2011 Phil, and it's 2019. They would get 2019 Phil, and they would probably be like, ooh.
So is that 2019? Like this before the pandemic, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the plan for you to come back?
Are we moving forward to you and CM Punk at WrestleMania?
Again, fantasy booking. You're going to have to ask him, man. I'm the one wrestling every week. He's the one who needs to show up. That's it. I call him a coward. I meant it. He sits behind his desk and he throws his little opinions out there. Come do something about it. You're not an elderly statesman. You're 40 years old. You can still fight. Come on, let's go.
If you've watched wrestling for the past 10 to 15 years and you love it and it's like within your blood, then you probably have some kind of feelings about that guy. No, I do.
Oh, yeah.
CM Punk is back with WWE television on WWE Backstage, obviously with FS1.
Nobody from WWE reached out to you after knowing you were doing that to say anything?
No.
And this week, he said, you should stop tweeting. And you said, fight me.
Just by doing one of these things, he made my job a lot harder over, 5-10 years ago.
It's me versus the Shield 3-on-1. This is the most pushed 3 guys since like Bobby Lashley. And they're like, you're going over. And I was like, okay, that's what you want. And they grab me and they stress, but you got to make Roman look really, really strong. And I was like, no, I was just going to fucking shit on him and beat him. I was like, yeah, I get it. Okay. So while we're putting the match together, every 2 minutes, somebody new is coming up to me. Hey, you got to make him look really strong. So I got so sick of Michael Hayes and everybody else coming up to me, people who aren't even involved in the match. Hey, you're making him look really strong, right? And then finally I said, you know what? You know what would make him look really strong? If they beat me. Because 3 guys can't beat 1 guy. That's dumb. But no, but Vince wants you to go over. Okay. But you got to make him look. God damn it!
Why did they kill that for you, that momentum? It feels to me, it feels like they have misused you. Out of respect, I say that. Because I want more. I want to see more as a consumer. Why have they killed that momentum for you? Why are you not fighting in the unification bouts? Do you feel like you failed?
Failed.
And I know that when I was supposed to wrestle Punk, Paul just came up to me and just said, you're not going to wrestle him, I'll beat him. I was like, cool.
Do you feel like you failed in your attempt to make change, to have your voice heard? Are you happy?
And everybody who ever worked with him has pretty much just talked shit about him. So I threw a name in the hat.
You gonna get it?
I doubt it.
So,
yeah, we're bringing him all back.
Aren't you in a bit of a program with them right now?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Are you enjoying that?
I am CM Punk, and I am the voice of the voiceless.
We were standing right over there in that corner in what turned out to be your final interview before quitting.
Vince, I need to talk to you. And Hunter was in the room and he goes, oh, I'll leave. And I went, no, you know what? You can stay. I don't care. You need to hear this too. And I just looked Vince in the eye and I said, I do not love this anymore. I'm fucking sick. I'm fucking hurt. I'm fucking confused. I said, it's not fun. I have zero fucking passion for this. I'm fucking concussed. I'm fucking hurt. And all you care about is what segment I am and how soon I can get my gear on, and I don't want to do it anymore. And Vince, with tears in his eyes, fucking stood up, and I stuck my hand out, and he went in for a hug, and it was like a reluctant, like I just kind of patted him on the back a little bit, and I looked at Hunter, and he stuck his hand out, and I shook his hand, and I said, goodbye.
Yeah? Did you know what was coming?
No, I don't think you could have predicted any of that.
Okay. I remember asking you at the end of that interview, you probably don't remember, but I've been reading that your contract is up with WWE. Is that accurate?
In like 6 months or something like that, July.
That's pretty soon.
Yeah.
Usually that's when people start talking about the next one.
Yeah, but nobody talks to me.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Are you going to stick around?
For the show?
After 6 months.
Oh, I don't know. 3 years ago, I was out the door. It was 100%. No, I'm not resigning. And now this time, I think just to avoid a little bit of deja vu, I think I'm just going to kind of dance around that question. I don't know.
I remember asking you at the end of that interview, you probably don't remember, are you happy? Are you happy? Do you remember me asking you that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you happy?
No, well,
I'll throw you the out of the house. Yeah, a little bit.
I said, are you happy? And you said, yeah, I'm happy. And I didn't really believe you.
I didn't believe me either.
Why did they kill that for you, that momentum? It feels to me, and I speak now, I take off the journalist hat, and I just talk as a fan of pro wrestling. It feels like they have misused you. Why are you not up top?
I would like to think that they don't do stuff like that on purpose. I just think it's a difference of opinion. I just think it's they wanted to go one way with it, and they thought it was going to be the best way, and whether it was or not is, it's a matter of interpretation.
That this guy coming out of retirement, beating you, and then going back into retirement.
He did that, didn't he?
Yes.
He came out of retirement.
He was gone. Came back. You were his first match, and then he went back to.
And then he went away again. Yeah.
To stop you.
Yeah.
I haven't been in the Rumble.
It's been a while.
2 years, I think.
Who's your date at WrestleMania?
My date?
Yeah.
Or who I'm
Who's
wrestling?
your dance partner?
And Vince was just like, this is the concussion talking. I can't believe you're saying any of this. The main event, it is a main event. You're wrestling Triple H. And I turned to Hunter and I said, all due respect, I do not need to wrestle you. You need to wrestle me. I do not want to wrestle you. I seriously resent you for not putting me over 3 years ago when you should have. That would have been best for business. But you had to come in and squash it. And then I had to...
Oh, I don't know yet.
You don't know yet?
No.
We'll find out maybe this Sunday?
And that's the thing. You might, but a lot of stuff happens between now and then. You know what I mean? We got the Rumble.
And then I had to lose to fuck Truth and Miz. Like, it didn't make any business sense then, doesn't make any business sense now, and I'm in a position now where I can tell you that I don't have to, and nor do I want to wrestle you at WrestleMania. I don't care if I was supposed to win, which I was. I didn't care. I didn't want to give him the privilege. Vince texts me and says that I'm suspended. He says, well, I wish you could have lasted until the end of your contract, but you're suspended for 2 months. So I did the math in my head. It's the day after Mania, my suspension was up. So I was like, all right, I'm missing Mania. I hate wrestling at this point. You know what I mean? I'm just like, whatever. Sure. The 2 months is up, and I don't hear anything. Nobody texts me. Nobody says your suspension is up. I had to listen to Vince on an investor call say that I was on a sabbatical, and I was like, why wouldn't he announce to his investors that I was suspended? That's weird. They're not sending me the reissued check. They're not sending me my royalties. So I'm like, okay, so are we just stalemated and then I'm just going to sit on my ass until my contract is up? That's fine, because there was a load of money I was leaving on the table, but I didn't care. 2 days before my wedding, I get a text from Hunter out of the blue. Hasn't talked to me since Cleveland. He says, hey, you got time to talk? And I said, I'm a reasonable guy. I've always had time to talk. I've always just been a phone call away. But I'm getting married in 2 days and I'm going to my honeymoon. How about we talk the day I get home, I'll call you. He did not respond to the text. The day of my wedding, I got a FedEx in the mail, and it was my termination papers. I was fired. So take that, everyone who says I need to be, I'm a quieter on Twitter.
You're a real quieter.
I was fired. Very calculated and very deliberate. Here's Vince McMahon who wants to hug me goodbye, and he has tears in his eyes, and he's like, "Oh, we're family," and he fires me on my wedding day. Also, people are asking me like, "Oh, do you accept Vince's apology?" And like, I'll say I appreciate the sentiment.
I would like to apologize. Punk got his severance papers on the day he got married, and that was coincidence.
That was not a sincere apology. He knew about it since June. Why didn't he apologize in June? If he really felt bad about it, and he just wanted to make sure a TV camera was on him so he could kind of damage control.
Off the market. So can we call you? Are you a WWE superstar or former WWE superstar?
I'm CM Punk. I'm just a superstar.
CM Punk, welcome to the UFC. Thank you. I gotta admit, somewhat surreal talking to you.
Thanks for having me. This is the guy that did the deal right here. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Ariel Helwani.
As Vince McMahon giving
Do
you
you mean
any
Vince
encouragement?
No, he's currently bankrolling a lawsuit against me, so I don't think he's going to be reaching out. Hey pal, how you doing?
Yeah, good
I'm
luck.
suing you.
I need
LOL.
some money.
Maybe we have a lot in common, me and him, but I've heard he can be an abrasive person, and maybe I guess I heard the quote when he told Triple H, I don't need to work with you. You need to work with me, right? Was that the quote at WrestleMania? I can see where, but to try to get back and get even that way by with him with a lawsuit.
Because I have the staph infection that you refuse to treat and diagnose, plus I have this concussion, and I've needed time off for at least a year, and you won't give it to me.
It raises that question you've heard asked before about guys who really never go back, guys who actually stick to their guns and say, I'm done, I'm out.
The importance of this moment in this entire situation is definitely not lost on me. Hey, thanks, guys. Thank you. See? When you're waiting for a judge to utter words that literally decide the course of the rest of your life,
Why did it have to be this week and not?
Was they were filing motions and stuff got delayed. And
Do you think they tried to make it this week to mess with your fight?
It's an easy thing to speculate.
They did a show
Yes.
in Chicago before AEW was, I guess, technically officially a thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know where in that I was doing the Fox thing.
But in terms of ideas for segments and our overall interest and passion and wanting him to be there, and hell, we coordinated his 1 hour tease signing to be the day before. Come on, man. Like, I'm being as polite as I can be right now. Like,
Is there any chance?
The wrestling show?
Yes, and you know I don't watch it, but I'm doing it for them, for the people, and I know you. Is it done not happening, or
Yeah,
you're
it's
just not addressing
Yeah,
it?
it's not. No, I'm not addressing it. It's just not happening.
Did they ask you?
Nobody's ever just been like, hey, here's the deal. We're having a show. We're going to pay you X amount. You're working this guy. What do you say? Yes or no? Nobody's ever done that. Everyone's always been like, hey, you know, if you want to ever maybe do something, you know, and to me, that's not
enough. Are you open to it if given a real offer?
I think we did. He doesn't think we did. No big deal. I think a lot of people laugh at him with what he's trying to do, and this is something he's passionate about. He wants to be a UFC fighter. He wants to get in there. It's crazy.
Was there anything they could have done to change that trajectory? Like if they were in Chicago and Vince McMahon showed up at your house, theoretically, what would have made you happy at that point?
Nobody talked to me. Ambrose ain't here this weekend. Why?
MRSA infection?
Yeah. And that's something I had that I didn't know that I had. I was like, I just want to go home. Please go home. No, guy, we need you for summer. You know, and so I went home, and then I got a text like maybe 4 days later, and Vince was like, "You ready to come back to work?" And I was like, "It's fucking 4 days." On what planet, in what other business does somebody suspend somebody else and then they like don't come get them after the suspension?
There's a million stories about you. Where are you going? What are you doing? When are you coming back?
When are you coming back is always a lot better question than when are you going the fuck away.
I mentioned a couple of these rumors and the speculations that are floating around about you. You want to address any of this?
Say, what's your answer for those rumors?
So there's a lot there. Yeah. Like they're talking about my mental health, intensely crazy private things, but I'm not involved in the conversation. Like, oh, do you think maybe he's depressed? And everyone's just like, I don't know, but he's got to wrestle in Europe, you know, for 2 weeks.
Right.
So, and it's just like, whoa, slow down. As a member of the office, shouldn't you like put a hold on that and take this guy off the road and be like, hey, we were talking, maybe you're depressed, you know? But no, it was just like
that conversation never came.
No, not with
wow.
me. No,
But
they
never
didn't,
came
they
with
didn't
How
to
do you
me.
know that they had it internally?
Because I have the paperwork
Wow.
from the lawsuit. I mean, none of it's. I'm not going to be anywhere. Ape was in Los Angeles for like a week and a half. So I haven't seen her in a minute. So I'm going to be hanging out with her tonight. I hate to burst anybody's bubble. I'm sorry.
So I don't know if he shared this, but the conversation was a conversation, I think, way longer than people knew, with many things happening in the universe. There was many options.
It's got to be the right deal.
Yeah,
I get
exactly.
it.
You know what I mean? If you want me to do anything, well, okay, then talk to me, but don't waste my time.
What does that look like? What does the right deal?
Of CM Punk actually listening to something that we said. I want to roll this clip. Jerry Bro, can you please roll that clip for us?
But isn't nothing bad about him. CM Punk was to show up right now. I just got this job, okay?
You just got hired.
I just got
Fox
hired.
Backstage.
Exactly.
WWE Backstage.
If CM Punk was to show up, he would be competition for me.
Yeah.
So that means he's going to be a guy that I would call a rival.
He could be taking food off your plate.
He could be taking food off my table. So
there.
I love Booker. Was one of the first guys. I think when I was in ECW and he was King Booker. Like I think he came over to try to boost ratings on Sci-Fi, and like I wound up like rolling him up and pinning him. You know what I mean? And he was cool about it.
He's a good dude.
Yeah.
So what'd you think about that? You know, he said he saw the clip.
I mean, he gave all the right answers, you know what I mean, other than, you know, him rolling me up and pinning me. I guess he had to say that to make himself look good a little bit. You know what I mean? I think that was almost like a little jab, you know what I mean? Yeah, he came over, ECW, I rolled him up, I pinned him.
Everybody's always, I'm working, brother. Let's have another match. One more match, brother.
Yeah. I'm not saying I'm prettiest girl at the prom or anything like that, but let's sit down and talk. And you know that like never happened until Tony was just like, yeah, you know, like I want to sit down and talk. And I talked with him.
That it is a done deal now that he has signed with Fox. You know,
you saw that? I didn't see that.
Yeah, I just read that a minute ago.
CM Punk returning
to WWE television is massive. There's been some tumultuous stuff that has happened over the last 5 years between CM Punk and the WWE. He was a champion. He was a stud. He was well beloved. He and some issues with executives got in the way of something that could have been very beautiful. He left cold turkey, just walked out. Chance of his name rang through arenas for the next 3 to 4 years. Do not mistake Steph's heart for anytime something boring happened in WWE, CM Punk chants would start. He knew it, he heard it, WWE heard it as well.
See, Daniel, these people want you to quit, just like CM Punk did.
The funny thing is, for me, for a guy telling me that I need to look for relevancy, here's someone who's been, in the doldrums for the last few years because he got his butt kicked in the octagon so bad he didn't want to show his face anywhere.
The aforementioned CM Punk talked about it a lot as well, about these guys who would leave and come back.
Man, those statements are coming from bitter people, who possibly thought they were better than they really were.
He probably had to be slapped around a few times in order to get his mind right, but I'm willing to put business first and make really good content if that's the case. But if the fans and the audience is going to like it and be into it, then most likely I'm willing to do it.
Very quickly about CM Punk. Obviously, you've made your thoughts very clear. Do you believe that this Fox deal is the start of his journey back into the WWE ring?
When it comes down to it, CM Punk was not as good or as over as a John Cena. Wasn't as good or as over and moved the needle like The Rock. It was just what it was.
And are you hoping that's the case?
Man, I don't know. I really don't. I don't know where his head's at with all of it.
CM Punk, he did that tweet about how they were going to break the internet or change the business or whatever.
Because at that time, I had a handshake thing, and things were in place, and that it didn't happen. So I was just like, okay, well, so I'll do this, but not that. And they're like, no. We're hiring you to be an analyst. We bought the TV rights for SmackDown, so you're going to be talking about it's no different than Brett Favre doing football or whoever,
Tom Brady, etc.
Everybody figured that this show was going to do really, really well. That's the whole idea behind it. That's why they hired CM Punk. He didn't come cheap. That's why they did all of that. And the show underperformed, apparently drastically. So that's the story. If the show were doing 700,000 viewers, like a replay of WrestleMania 30 or whatever, trust me, it's still on the air right now.
But one thing I would love to know is, what would it take for you to get back into a wrestling ring?
They could save themselves a whole lot of money if they just presented just like a fun storyline. Now, what that is, I don't know. I'm a pretty picky guy. I think there's more interesting people on the AEW side of things for me to wrestle. Young Bucks, Kenny Omega.
Promising people it's going to be a new era in AEW. You're going to see a lot of changes. August 13th, the Rampage era begins.
It was an incredible weekend for professional wrestling. But even though SummerSlam saw the returns of both Becky Lynch and Brock Lesnar, it was still CM Punk's AEW debut that stole the show. And in the process, he officially made that promotion a thing. The buzz around Punk showing up was a pop culture crossover moment. The kind we'll look back on if AEW can really take off and become a legitimate alternative, if not direct competition, to WWE long term.
Who are you as a person walking into this?
A person that is grateful that I can get back to falling in love and enjoying professional wrestling, but also knowing I don't have to be consumed by it and so obsessed to a point of self-destruction. Because for sure, like there's probably people who had bad experiences with me because I was like, wrestling, no, this is the way it's got to be, and like we're old school and we got to be tough, and and now I'm just like, no, man, because what's more important than wrestling to me is that guy Larry, my wife.
And we've been averaging over 1 million viewers for weeks and weeks and weeks, setting new records for live attendance, pay-per-views, 6 straight weeks where Dynamite was the #1 show on all of cable TV, satellite TV on Wednesday.
Right.
Every pay-per-view we've ever done has gone up year over year, which shows the movement is growing and growing and growing.
And working with good people.
And here we are, and now CM Punk is going to wrestle this Sunday.
Oh my God. Oh boy, people are going to be real fucking mad about this, but fuck it. Mercedes and Trinity leave, and they announce on SmackDown that, gosh darn, we're so disappointed in them, and they really let our fans down. Well, Brock splits. Comes back, obviously. I think he worked the show. But where's Michael Cole saying, man, Brock Lesnar really let these fans down? I walked out. They went on TV and they called me a quitter. What's changed? There's nothing much.
On the WWE side of things, is like, let's be honest. There's stuff that's got to be worked through.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you get there.
I mean, Nick Khan could not have sounded like more dismissive of Tony Khan than when he's asked about him, and his quote was, "I've never met the kid, Tony Khan. Seems like a nice kid. I don't know him." And then goes on to say, "I met his dad. Him and Stephanie were at a luncheon a year and a half ago and happened to be seated next to Shahid Khan and was very, very impressed with Shahid Khan, but not the kid. Seems like a nice kid."
How old is Nick Khan?
I'm going to say Nick Khan is, the fact you're bringing this up means like they have to be much more closer in age than I'm imagining. I'm going to say Nick Khan is 52.
Okay. How old is Tony Khan?
Tony Khan, I believe, is 40.
Tony Khan is 40. Nick Khan is 46.
Can you believe you pulled this off? Like, you changed the industry. When you look around at what this is, do you ever just like smell the roses? No one else could have done what you did.
This is one of the best feelings in the world. I can't compare it to anything. It came off perfectly. It is whatever the opposite of a letdown is. This is the opposite of a letdown.
So get out!
No, man, Eddie's just real and he's raw, like he's a throwback.
I think it's important to listen to every voice back there. My way's not the right way, but we can always talk about stuff, figure out what the best idea is.
A lot of people say that the Eddie Kingston shot at CM Punk was real. It's not. It was a work. Him, Bryan Danielson, and CM Punk are all just taking shots at each other from like the last couple of years. I know there's a lot of confusion on that, so let's just keep moving forward.
It's not a work, not a gimmick. Cody Rhodes has left AEW.
All right, starting off the year, CM Punk talking about how badly he wants to work with Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. All things are great right there. But in February, right in the middle, Cody Rhodes, Brandy Rhodes leave. That starts a ripple in this locker room. And one, because, again, was never really given a reason, creates that ripple where a lot of wrestlers are affected because Brandy helped a lot of the women and Cody worked with a lot of the guys. And once they leave, this is where a lot of these issues really start making it to the media. Cody debuts. Must be heartbreaking for some of those people in that AEW locker room, seeing their main leading the revolution gone. Also, what that leads to, Tony starting to do a lot more media relations things, because Cody used to be the voice of AEW and doing a lot of these interviews. He did the media press calls before pay-per-views. Tony Khan's rant about the anti-AEW bots. He had the botched Phantom Singh debut, which Tony Khan didn't take credit for. He ended up trying to pass it off to others. Problems start to really arise for Sammy Guevara. Where he disables Twitter. And now remember, Cody Rhodes worked really closely with Sammy, helping out a lot. So he was definitely missing that figure. Let's go.
Almost pity you. And I have no respect for you and what you've done since you've gotten here. Defending all elite wrestling from you.
I know why. It's because he's a fat piece of shit just like all of y'all.
He accept? He accepted. Oh, okay, good. Hey, Sammy, that's cool, fat shaming. Real original. Now, oh, man, there's a lot of things I can say about your shitty attitude in the back. That's why no one likes you or you. I'm going to do what you always do. I'm going to take a vacation. Washington. I hope he's there Wednesday. I pray to God Sammy's there Wednesday.
Like, no one wrestler has ever come in and made a bigger plus delta financial difference in the history of my company going into, this is the 3rd year anniversary this week, going into year 4. No one person has ever made a more positive impact. We just did a record pay-per-view buy. Every pay-per-view, he's done a 4 pay-per-view cycle now. Every one of them was a record. He did the Friday Night War. He did the First Dance. He's done the record Double or Nothing. He did the record All Out in his debut. He was a big part of a record Full Gear, a great match with Eddie Kingston and TV box ever with MJF. And then he did the goddamn main event here. He's the biggest part of financial success in the history of this company.
Especially when you consider, this is the first time we ever locked up, and the first time you ever wrestle somebody who's normally sometimes it gets a little sticky. So as far as matches go, first time we ever touched, I think it's pretty damn good. And I'm just trying to really relish every single moment I have in the ring and make everything special.
A lot of people were talking about the promo exchange you had at Page leading into Double or Nothing, how it felt like there was some real tension there. Do you feel like you're blending in with this locker room, or do you still feel like you're kind of somebody on the outside trying to find his way in to the regular mix of AEW?
Oh, I've grown so wise in my old age that I'll do my best to be as diplomatic as I possibly can with this answer. If there's people backstage that don't like me, it's a minority. And if anybody says that nobody wants me here and nobody likes me, I like to say that nobody's don't like me and nobody's don't want me.
Some Hollywood bullshit comeback. He's here every week. Nobody works harder than CM Punk in his company, and nobody's done more for this company in the last year than CM Punk has. Like, I wanted him from day one, but when he finally came, it was been the best stuff we've ever done. Like I was saying, gave financial. It's not just about the financial, it's about the people. And we've never been in a better place because of you. So thank you.
That Tony brings in, every day is...
Things are starting to go a little screwy at AEW, but they seem really good from a CM Punk point of view. But the thing that's interesting about that interview right there after the pay-per-view where he won the championship was Tony Khan just giving CM Punk all these flowers about how great he is and all the things he's done and how much of an impact he's had on AEW. Now, do you think anyone would get jealous about that, and where Tony Khan is like, he is like the main reason why we are being successful? So Freddie Prinze Jr. has this podcast, and he actually referenced this, and he says that he does know for a fact a lot of people feel like Punk doesn't show anyone their respect, or at least not the type of respect. Well, let's change that word, because respect is earned. The type of dignity that one would expect at work, okay? So when you treat people like they aren't necessarily a part of the pie, things get crazy. Now, also think about this. Freddie Prinze Jr. says he knows this for a fact. And Freddie Prinze Jr. has said that he meets with MJF a lot. So that would be my guess, is that he heard from MJF or maybe Chris Jericho. Those are my guesses, but either way, he said he knows for a fact.
Mentally devastating. I was bedridden for at least 2 weeks. This is the worst injury I've ever had. Well, not being able to walk my dog was like really challenging, and it was really, really hard for me because I really wanted to have this great summer, and I have pride in my work. And then the rehab, like, I could tell you how hard and painful it was and grueling, but I just wouldn't be able to do it justice.
I just want to give you an idea of where CM Punk was mentally for the month of June. After giving the title up June 3rd, he was bedridden for the next 2.5 weeks or so, okay? Not even around. Also, keep in mind that exactly 2 days before he won the championship, that article came out about him and Colt Cabana and the fact that it's his fault or whatever, right? 2 days before he won the championship. Very interesting timing, by the way. Also, AEW locker room is just going crazy right now. Bryan Danielson was injured, Forbidden Door. Kenny Omega was injured, Forbidden Door. Jeff Hardy was arrested, okay? So there's a lot of problems going on where a lot of fires had to be put out. So, again, all right, let's continue.
To do is come back too soon, have a setback, and then I'm going to start drinking if I, get another setback. So fans can cheer or boo who they want.
Necessarily enjoy being a good guy. I feel like it's hard work. It's a lot easier to get people to dislike you.
I don't hear that I look like Jay. I fucking wish. Goddamn arms.
Hulk Cabana was actually one that really I was able to go to kind of workshop ways for me to wrestle, and it helped me significantly. So he was one guy that early on was great for me, and now I don't work with anybody.
We have a lot of impressive athletes in AEW. They could do all the moves that I never fucking could do.
A special connection. They chanted my name for 7 years. I came back. They're still stoked about it. So I feel like every time I'm in the ring is special to me, and I don't want to squander that.
Do you genuinely feel a little bit of distance between Punk and some parts of the locker room? Is that something that you feel earnest about?
Probably not something I want to say a lot about. Yeah.
Okay.
I think like I said before, I think I was specific as I intended to be, and I'll leave it at that.
All right, really quick, let's do the July wrap-up. So Cole did an interview with Kurt Angle saying he wants to face Punk, so things are good there. On the 9th, the Punk Cabana rumors shot down. By Dax Harwood, they're still shot down. CM Punk does a public appearance at the Comic-Con with a bunch of other wrestlers. He seems in a high spirit. We saw some clips there. At the ROH pay-per-view, Tony Khan is asked about Cabana, where he says, no comment. So that's not the greatest. Adam Page is asked about Punk and the comments that he made on Dynamite, and he does not shoot them down. He says no comment to them and that he said what he needed to say. But basically, he's confirming that there are issues with Punk backstage. So he did not help the situation at all. I still have some more information to go before we wrap this all up, so thanks for holding tight and being here with me.
You want that rematch? You got it right here, right now. Let's go.
Yeah. Hangman Punk's in the ring.
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! We're doing something really important here. Get the fuck out of here, Jeff! Get out, Jeff! My sentiments exactly. Now on to the important things. That's not cowboy shit. That's coward shit.
You saw the video, man. You were so incredulous that I went into business for myself, and I was just like,
No,
oh, man.
I made sure to say that some people were upset that you had done that, and other people said that you were defending yourself, which is what you said, that you were defending yourself.
And the reason I've never defended myself is because when you do, just sounds like you're being defensive. But I've eaten shit on this subject for a very, very long time.
What in August? All right. So we still don't see CM Punk till August 17th. Okay. So Paige did that interview. I think it was like I said the 27th. So he had about 3 weeks to try for someone to do something. Because I know Punk said he tried to get them to squash it, and they just didn't. So that's why he did what he did. He still wanted to turn it into a work, but I guess it wasn't getting handled. Okay. But the other thing you got to keep in mind is that there's a lot of other backstage issues going on with Sammy Guevara, with Britt Baker. Tony Khan held a meeting. There's just a lot of fires to put out, and so just controversy everywhere. But the thing that I find very, very interesting again is on August 25th, The Observer prints a brand new story about Punk causing Cabana to get released or move to ROH or whatever it is. Okay. Again, right before he's about to win the championship again, a brand new story saying that he's causing Cabana and causing all these issues.
EVPs and they spread lies and bullshit and put into a media that I got somebody fired when I have all to do with him.
I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them.
Punk's exit didn't just leave a talent gap. It exposed a leadership vacuum and a locker room culture in disarray.
It's like sometimes you're in a locker room and some of these guys are just so dead serious about pro wrestling to the point where like it's almost uncomfortable and we want to have fun.
His departure has emboldened others to consider their options.
Did I negatively affect the business? Damn, I didn't want to do that. Nobody wants to be that guy. And the ones that do, we don't give a shit about them anyway.
WWE being hot helps us.
Well, and then the threat of guys from our company going there.
Who knows who will jump ship and whatnot. Like it's,
and we didn't know. Talked about how we just signed these contracts. Right. Not just the two of us. Hangman and Kenny, the four of us, we negotiated together as a team.
The ones that, I'm going to retire if this person comes back.
There was many times where Matt just said, you know what, I have enough. I'm ready to just retire.
The ones that, you know what, if he's here, I don't want to be here.
Right. And there was a lot of emotions in the last year, as the world knows.
Take your ass home then, because the business is going to roll and roll and roll, with or without.
Once you get to the top, it's like, it's not as fun in a weird way. Maybe I'm just...
No, you're right about that.
The fallout from AEW's internal chaos is taking its toll on the company's biggest names.
I love this place.
The votes did not line up every time.
I care about this place.
Because we said majority wins on this.
This is my home.
So one day, this person's voting to leave, this person's voting to go. We weren't even on the same page the whole time.
I will be defending all elite wrestling.
So, you know what I mean? Like, we had no idea.
From you.
Wrestlers once loyal to AEW's vision are now questioning their place within the organization.
And Nicholas Jackson. Clap for them, guys. Come on.
The EVP exodus.
What's up with the backstage drama? Whether it was stuff with Rhodes when he left.
I want to stay the executive vice president of All Elite Wrestling. I told Tony this until I...
If it is a work, they are working a locker room that has already grown more distant from Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes. That would be toxic.
Or was it CM Punk was there and being kind of a jerk, I guess, with the Young Bucks and their issue, all that nonsense. Where do you stand with that?
Politicking backstage all day, trying to get a Cody deal.
AEW stars aren't just employees or independent contractors. They're the faces of the brand. If key figures leave, it's not a personnel loss. It's a blow to the company's identity and credibility.
AEW has got a good thing going. I don't think they need me. I think they need me. So I will, I'll make my return for New Japan instead.
Reports suggest that the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and even Hangman Page have expressed frustrations about their reduced influence in the company. Omega in particular has hinted at greener pastures, potentially outside AEW.
Feel interested in a final run in the current WWE to test yourself even more? Well, it's a different kind of test, right? I feel like...
Well, you can take the title off Cody.
I think there's quite a few people that could take it off of him. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've got a lot of friends there. I'm not at the beginning of my career. I'm not even in the middle of my career. I'm winding down. And there aren't many of us that are allowed to select how they exit the business. And if I was able to get everything that I could ever want or anything I could ever ask for, yeah, there are a number of people on their roster that I would love to let's have fun with and work with in the ring before I'm able to pack it in once and for all. So I wouldn't consider it so much as a test. It'd be a very selfish final run for me.
Anybody out there that you talk to on a regular basis, or?
I would say the closest is definitely Sami Zayn.
I don't think I didn't notice your t-shirt. It did not fall on blind eyes. I do see the Sami Zayn t-shirt, which he is an absolute hero. Love that dude.
Absolutely.
He's fantastic.
One of my best friends. Those are moments I'll never forget, and I'm just so proud that I've been able to have incredible matches with him, done some incredible work. Proud that I can call him a friend. Proud that he's doing so well, and finally showing everyone just how good he really is.
Maybe the one business out there where grudges don't exist, but at the end of the day, they can all be repaired, they can all die off, and everything can be fixed with a handshake because it's what's good for business.
What's my status with Punk right now? Did I ever have a chance to talk to him? Status of Punk right now? I don't know. It's just mutual respect. We reached out to each other. That's the thing. It's not like, hey, we're good now. We're never bad. We honestly, if it weren't for a complete other factor, we would have been able to have that talk on the night of Brawl Out. There's no issue between him and I, as far as I know. I don't think there is at all.
I was just gonna say I've had anxiety, thinking.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Been anxious. Didn't know if I could still perform at a high level.
I was actually waking up in cold sweats. I haven't been sleeping. People don't understand because we haven't been able to really talk about it. But it's been
stressful.
2 of the hardest months of my life. I know you too, and my family, and here we are. We got through it.
Yep. Brought up a certain way in this business, which is the right way. That's when you become a professional. Not all this other shit that's watering down the business.
A business full of counterfeit bucks.
And making it worse, not better.
The people that I know, that I work closely with, have nothing but good things to say about the man.
Business is one thing and personal is another. And who taught us that it's just business, Mark? Vince McMahon.
As the founder and driving force of AEW, Tony Khan shoulders the blame.
Tony Khan's probably got a lot of right-hand men, but I think I'm probably one of them.
Or the praise for its successes and failures.
Since you've gone on record trying to check WWE on some of this tampering stuff, it's gotten better or there's been no change?
That's a fascinating way to phrase the question.
If you put it on the record like stop tampering with my guys, you're sending a clear message. I'm wondering if it worked out.
I don't think that it has. I think that it's still happening.
Early on, his fan just like you persona endeared him to audiences.
He's one of us. He's a wrestling fan.
Tony Khan is legit the biggest wrestling fan I've ever met. And it is weird working for somebody that could tell you, Cody, remember when you had that match in 2003 at, this building in Kansas City, and this was the attendance, and they had this many pay-per-view buys and all this stuff. Like, he has an amazing mind for wrestling.
But now,
there's a big difference between this year and last year. When I talk about things I wasn't thrilled about, I'm not sure if this is what we'll see from now on. If it is, when the fight is brought, I will continue bringing fights of my own, and I have unique ways to do that and a lot of money to fight with. This is not a game to me. I don't think it's a joke. This is my life, and I take it really seriously. When I compare myself to Jim Crockett Promotions this weekend, I think I got a taste of the same medicine Jim Crockett Promotions took, but I have a lot more money than Jim Crockett did. And I'm serious. I'm not gonna sit back and take this punch.
Overextension and control, Khan's insistence on micromanaging every aspect of AEW, combined with his tendency to avoid tough questions.
I think being this unwilling to talk about these subjects undermines AEW's brand as a strong alternative to wrestling companies in the US like WWE that want to ignore the obvious, ignore the elephant in the room that everyone is thinking about and no one is willing to talk about. It undermines a lot of the earned trust that AEW quickly earned since 2019.
Dance around what I was saying.
I'm not interested in creating a spectacle brand that's hot for a moment. 2 years later, people are like, remember when that was cool?
2 years in the making, so it's pretty special, and thank you very much. Thank you.
Sometimes you have something going and it's kind of hot. You go like, oh man, we could go all in right there, right now. But if you go too far, too fast.
I'm not Hogan. Daniel Bryan and Adam Cole, they're not the outsiders. This is totally different. And I'll go ahead and say it. To me, this is bigger.
Too fast. You limit your chances on the other side of it being long-term. You burn that fire too fast, it burns out and it's done.
It's good to have different people that are specialists, almost like in pro football or college football, where people focus on different things.
So it's not about an
individual performance, about it, the show overall and where it all fits together and how. That's the art of this, how it all fits together.
Has left many questioning his ability to lead.